Good mountain Tuesday morning. Oh, I did it again. Let's just do it this way. Good mountain morning to you. Thanks for joining us this morning. Now, if you've not joined us, well, then just go ahead and join. How are they going to know that unless someone who is joining calls the others and lets them know they need to join? Ain't that right? There we go. We got Mountain Man back in the house. And so good to have him. He's a little puny on us last mountain morning show. Man, it's tough for me to get away from that. Well, anyway, I don't know what day it is. No, I don't know what day it is. We got a lot going on, though. And what we need you all to do right now, this very second, we need you to text, tweet, call, send a carrier pigeon, do whatever you need to do. Go knock on your neighbor's door, yell across the road, holler from one mountaintop to the other, say, hey, Mountain Morning Show is on Mountain Fun Life Channel, and we will be glad to welcome each and every one of you. And one of these days, I'm going to get this new time schedule straight in my mind, and I'll say it right. Ain't that right, Mountain Man?
Hey. I don't even know what year it is.
You don't even know what year it is. Anyway, don't worry. I'll make sure you find your way home okay. But now, you go ahead and get that texting, tweeting, calling, yelling, all that done, and get everybody you can to join the Mountain Morning Show right here on Mountain Fun Life, and we will be right back. Hey, we're live. Welcome back to Mountain Morning Show right here on Mountain Fun Life Channel, and we're so glad that you could join us. We got Mountain Man back with us, Wayne McCarter, and he doesn't care what you call him, though, as long as you call him 3 times a day. I say that a lot, but he likes that breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and all the snacks in between, I suppose, too. So
I don't like to be cheated.
You don't like to be cheated. You don't want left out with a good steaming cup of coffee to go with it. That really goes good on a cold morning like this morning. Hey, I'm Robert Ownby, your host, and we got the Mountain Man here. And hey, we are ready to go with the Mountain Morning Show, and we're going to be talking some new stuff that we're getting lined up to introduce to you about the mountain heritage and culture around in these here parts. We have a lot of tourists come in here, and they drive around, probably take tours, and I'm sure the tour guides do a lot of talking and explaining some things, but they can only cover so much. We're going to be beginning here soon, pretty soon, a mini series of little video clips where we'll be going out on location, be doing a little bit of filming of some important cultural areas around Sevier County, the Smoky Mountains area here, some unique and unusual places, old homesteads, and things like that of historical importance that a lot of people probably don't get to see or hear about. And if they do, they may not know the story behind them. So we intend on beginning that is we need a little bit nicer weather. It's been too rainy, too chilly, and we got to keep Mountain Man kind of dry here. You know, he's ain't that right?
Well, yeah, I got this here condition, you know.
You got that condition. You got okay. I understand, but I'm working on this new book on. I did the Ownby's Smoky Mountain Heritage. And it became an Amazon bestseller, and new titles and new authors, new titles, was a bestseller within just a few weeks. I'm working on another one on my mother's side of the family, the Ogles. And the historic Ogle cabin, which is now at the Smoky Mountains Visitor Center. Going into Gatlinburg I think that's on the right-hand side up there. I haven't been up there so long I don't remember. But anyway, it's been moved about 3 times. Here just about a year or two ago, they moved it from the Pi Beta Phi area in Gatlinburg. It had been there for years, and a lot of tourists probably walked by that, saw it, and didn't read the plaque. And, of course, a plaque can only give just a few little highlights. But that was my 5th great-grandmother, Martha Jane Ogle. That is my 5th great-grandmother. And my granddad.
I'm still just learning my first one, okay?
And my granddad passed away. He came over and hewed out the logs and went back to collect his family to bring them back over. I think there were something like 5 boys, 2 girls, something like that. It'll all be in the book. I'll get it all straightened out in the book. I've been chasing these Ogles all over the place. But that little cabin, if you millions of tourists come through this area, and they don't know probably a lot unless they take a tour, get a tour guide talking to them. A lot of the historical backgrounds behind some of these things, the cabins and things like that. But the historic Ogle cabin was the first cabin in the White Oak Flats. That's what it used to be called before it became Gatlinburg. That was the first cabin in this area on this side of the Smoky Mountains from North Carolina. They came over the mountain and built that cabin, and if you're coming and visiting the area, and it will be in this book, the historic Ogle family Smoky Mountain Heritage. I hope to get that finished pretty soon, and there will be a lot of stories in there that a lot of people have not heard. I'm telling you, these Ogles and Ownbys, especially the Ogles, they got here first, and they're all over the place. I've been tracing the lineage back, the genealogy table back all the way to the Middle Ages. I think about 1000 all the way back, and kept right on through Northumberland, England, little border province, whatever they call it, on the border with Scotland when they feuded and fought kind of like the Hatfields and McCoys and didn't get along too well. That's before it became Great Britain, you know, and they joined up together and quit fighting and put their guns down, cannons. But anyway, the Ogle family, my great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandparents were knights. Sir Robert Ogle, Sir Knight Robert Ogle. And, you know, that when I found that, I thought, wow. They were called lords, you know, and I thought, I didn't realize I was going to find the Lord like that, you know. It's not the when I found that, I thought, Lord, Knight, Sir, Knight Robert Ogle. And I got to wondering, well, maybe I was named after him. But Ogle Castle, the west wing of it, is still standing and is, I think, currently a bed and breakfast house. So I chased these ogles all over from the Middle Ages all the way through to about 1600, and one of them decided to get on a ship and cross the Atlantic to Delaware. I'm tired. I still got all the way around Northumberland to Castle after they were involved in several different castles and battles and all that stuff.
And that's it.
You go back to Grandpa. Okay, Grandpa McCarter, I suppose.
That's it right there.
Okay, maybe we need to do a little chasing on your lineage next and see where you came from. I'm kind of curious about that. We need to look into your situation.
Us McCarters were these bunch of
Well, now they go back too. Now they go back. I don't know how far. Which they're everywhere. Okay. Like the Ogles and the Ownbys around in these parts. But anyway, the tourists, they come to this area and by the millions, and they drive around Cades Cove, around the loop over there, and they see the old farmhouse. I think it's still there. On the right-hand side as you're going around the loop, the old farmhouse, and used to be a lot of beehives. Now, I don't know where those beehives are still there. And that was the last settler in the Cades Cove area that was permitted to remain on his property once the National Park took it over. He went to court and said, I'm not leaving. He got him a lawyer, and they went to court, and he said, you ain't putting me out. This is my home, and I'm staying. And they let him stay until his death. They gave him the paperwork and everything. And they agreed, the government agreed to let him remain until his death. That was, we call him Uncle Lem Ownby. So we're going to be, when we do these little historical video clips that we're going to be doing, we'll be going places like that, and we'll be going out, different areas, other areas that don't necessarily involve my personal family, the Ogles or the Ownbys. There are some historical places around Sevier County that a lot of the tourists, when they come in on the Interstate 40, come right on through Sevierville, Pigeon Forge, right on to Gatlinburg, and maybe over to Cherokee through the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. And a lot of the little out-of-the-way historical areas, they don't get to, they don't know about usually, and don't get to see. So we are going to be taking our camera, doing a little video clip here and there of some of these little areas. 10, 15. You got me fired up. Yeah, you got me fired in.
We're the mountain show. Let's do a mountain thing.
We're going. Well, you've been trying. You've been ragging me from one end to the other. Well, it's the Smoky Mountains, folks. We're Smoky Mountain folk. So we're going to talk about Smoky Mountain folk. Mm-hmm. And the culture, the area, maybe do a little coon hunting. There's a lot of cabins going up now, though. Cabins on it.
Back in this county no more.
No.
Right, but you can't. No,
you can't. You tried lately?
I got a hunting license. And
You got?
pretty, but it's just pretty.
Oh, okay. It's just to look at.
Just to look at.
Maybe y'all put it in.
I got a gun, but.
Yeah, I know where you got the gun.
I hope it shoots.
Yeah, I know it does. I tried it out. I shot it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did a little target.
They're good guns.
Yeah, you have to watch where you aim anymore. There's a cabin on every neighbor on every corner, a cabin on every ridge. Not like it used to be, the wilderness area. And now you think about it. Getting back to the Ogle cabin, Martha Jane Ogle. And Billy, her husband, I was telling y'all, he passed away. He didn't get to, he went to collect his kids, bring them back, and he caught some kind of fever. It'll be in the book. I don't remember exactly. It'll be in the book. Just wait for the book. And he didn't get to come back over. He died of some kind of fever. And he went back to grow a crop so they'd have food. Back then, they didn't have the general store, Kmart, Walmart, and they didn't even have a little general store or anything over here.
Can you imagine going to church back then when your neighbor smelt like a horse.
Because you rode a horse
Because
there.
you rode a horse there.
or either rode behind one in a buggy.
You know, to me, that's back when they went to church for the right reason.
Yeah.
And I mean, even the old folks.
Not to
didn't-
disparage anyone
the
today,
ones
I'm sure they
that
do, but
didn't,
still, that you know,
Brother Robert, they still loved the Lord, and they still said prayer before their meals.
they
People were pretty cool.
their life was
I like
tough,
those people.
and the little cabin, my fifth great grandmother, she I think maybe. She brought the family, and I think maybe a brother-in-law, someone came with her to help put the logs together. He had come across the mountain, her husband, Billy Ogle. He had hewed the logs and evidently stacked them up over here in what was called the White Oak Flats, which is now Gatlinburg. And he went back, and he was going to grow a crop so they'd have food, because what he knew once they got back over Smoky Mountains, now history, what I'm finding, he was an Indian trader, was friends with the Indians and Native Americans, to be correct. And but you know, he couldn't run out to the general store. They didn't have one. All it was going to be on this side of the Smoky Mountains in the Gatlinburg area, then known as White Oak Flats, it was going to be this little, I think it's 2-room log cabin. And if you're driving through going toward Gatlinburg, just stop in, walk in, take a look at it. And of course, we'll be presenting it on here.
What the old mills were about.
Yeah.
They were a lot of them, and we're going to try to get.
We're going to get to some that a lot of people.
They had to grind their corn in their
right.
mill, and they had to have flour, and they had to have these things.
And some of those things came over later, because that was the only structure on this side of the mountain when they put that. That was the first structure, cabin, homestead
really is so
built.
interesting in the old backwoods, back where the homes were, they would find a spring, Brother Robert.
Yeah.
Because they had to have their water. And that's the way they would build.
That's how they kept their milk cool. They go out, and you know that I'm sure that he was planning on bringing a milk cow, maybe 2, maybe a horse or a mule, and a wagon to haul his stuff across the mountain.
Something, Brother Robert, on my brother's place that he is very proud of, and he takes care of, is an old root cellar that's dug back in the
Root
back.
cellar, because
Dug
that
back
way
in
you
that
could
bank,
put
he takes care of it. It's beautiful.
you could put canned goods and stuff like that through the winter, and it wouldn't freeze on you.
And you could put smoked meat and anything you
Smoked
wanted
meat,
in there.
stuff like that, dried fruits.
Dried
Now
fruit.
I can remember the day when my mother would can, and we would dry fruit and put up stuff for the winter. Pick wild blackberries and stuff like that, and can those and
Jellies.
yeah.
Jellies.
If they didn't do that,
I mean,
now you
back in
think
the
about
day-
it.
Back in the day, that's the way we were fed and the way we were took care of.
You
Kids
think
today'd starve to death.
right? They wouldn't know how to survive. Now you think about it. Here you have this family without her husband coming over across the mountain to complete his dream. She decided she wasn't going to let her husband's dream die. So she came to this side of the mountain with her family. They put that little cabin together. They cleared them out of place, probably. Well, I'm sure they did to grow their corn and potatoes, and
right there now
that's
when you care.
exactly
They cared about each other. Back
sure
in the
did.
day, it was about each other.
And to take that kind of over into the wild, the wilderness, of course, the Native American villages, I'm sure, were close by, since he was a trader, and I'm sure they were on friendly terms. And that was before that some greed got encroachment on some. Well, I'm not going to get into all that. We all know the history of what happened. We always look at it from one side, usually, but even history usually tells it from one side.
There were times. My
Simple.
grandmother had rentals. She had a couple of houses around, but
Yeah.
you got $25 a month.
$25 a month.
$25 a month. Can you imagine that?
Man,
House.
it's something else.
We'd love it today, but you know, back then that 25 was hard to come by, Brother Robert.
It was hard to come by, and these are just some tidbits of some things that we're going to be. We'll be coming on live. We'll still be coming on live, but what we want to do, we'll be bringing in some video clips of some of these historic places, old homesteads, we'll find some of the old. Now basically everybody that comes through this area, tourist-wise, they see the old mill, the most popular. But they don't see a lot of the others. There are more in the area that have stood through the ages of time, from days gone by. We want to do some stories on those, and we want to get into maybe some general stores that some of them still stand. A lot of them are not open, but we want to maybe go to Uncle Lem's place and give. Millions of tourists have seen that, and they may not know the history behind it. We're going to talk a little bit about that and do a little story and video clip, and we'll be doing that live on location, and we'll be bringing that back in and presenting these stories so that you can get more information on the culture of the Smoky Mountains area. And I'm telling you, it is very interesting.
How did you get all that on that little paper? That's a question, Mark.
I know that's a question that I ain't going to answer. But anyway, the Walker sisters. The Walker sisters, what was it? 7 of them. The Walker sisters cabin, I think it's still standing. Mm-hmm. We may have to pay a visit there because you see, only one of those, I don't recall her name. It'll be in the book. It's in the Ownby's book, and it'll be in the bestseller, and it'll be in the Ogle's book. I'm going to recount that story because it ties in with the Ogle family.
Yes.
Because
they laid out as you drove down the road. It was, it was like the Spurgeon farm,
yeah,
Fox farm, and I mean the King farm. It went by farms up the road. And
we'll be going to those too, not just personal family. We'll be going to some of the most historic places in and around the Smoky Mountains in Sevier County. But the Walker sisters, only one of them ever married, only one. And that one became the mother of my Uncle John Shelton, married my mother's sister. So
pretty smart, weren't they?
Yeah. yeah. Pretty smart.
Because they couldn't tuck me now.
Well, yeah.
They'd have killed me in Virginia.
Yeah, they probably would. I'm telling you. Now you talk about some ladies. Now they were ladies, but now those gals. Now there's some tough mountain women right there. They split their own wood. And
do that now.
Fired their own fireplace, canned their own food, survived.
I guarantee you, man knows how to turn that thermostat up.
Well,
back in the day, though, they didn't have a thermostat, Brother Robert.
No, they didn't.
And you look at the new old heaters that you got out there today and burn wood in. They had no fireplace. Most time double-sided.
But
we'll
probably be paying a visit and doing a video clip of this. Plus, we'll be going to the Sugarlands. You go beyond the Sugarlands Visitor Center. Every tourist knows where that's at and probably been there. And the first look-off called the Sugarlands. Well, my grandpa Ogle and great-grandpa Ogle, Daniel Ogle, owned most of that property right down there off over the look-off where you look over was now all grown up.
Mm-hmm.
And the Sugarlands, that was the old home place of my great-grandpa and my grandpa Ogle. And I think I let my brother have a map, an old map before the park, showing the land, the deed, like where you make a deed and you have to have a drawing of the map of the land. We got a copy of that and I'm going to get a picture, take a picture of that, and put it in the book on the historic Ogle family of the Great Smoky Mountains.
It's
that will
so
be in the book.
cool, though. Grassy Branch. A lot of people never heard of that. That's where my people come from. And today, there's a lot of my people that I'm proud of. My Uncle Jack and his sons, they're buying that back up.
Now, is that over around
their,
McCarter Hollow?
No,
That's not.
That's on out Birds Creek out.
Birds Creek
in the
area.
Back out on 321.
Well,
Start Greenbrier, cross
yeah.
Greenbrier.
Now we may have to go. We may have to
It's
go
back
do
in
some
the
video
sticks
clip.
pretty
Yeah,
much.
yeah, and we'll probably be going out. There's some other historical areas like the Boyd's Creek School. Do you remember the name of that school?
No,
You don't remember? You getting awful forgetful here lately. What in the world's the matter? You know they've got a medicine you can take for that.
Well, I take milk of amnesia to help me. Don't help much, Joe.
That ought to help you. I think that might be what you need. Milk
My
of
wife says
amnesia.
it's selective hearing.
Yeah, well, I think I've been accused of that too, selective hearing. But anyway, we'll jog your memory. We'll get that back. We'll go visit some of these places, and so be watching and looking. Just stay in touch with us here, Mountain Fun Life channel, because we have some interesting stories that we're going to be introducing, and some video clips of some of these places and we'll be giving a little story background behind some of them, so that you can kind of see and get more info than you get just by driving through Sevierville, Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg, and maybe over to Cherokee, North Carolina. So we'll be getting out into the rough, into the backwoods. Another place we need to go is the Sugarlands, the old Sugarlands graveyard cemetery.
A lot of the old graveyards are so cool.
I have some relatives that are buried there, and I don't know exactly who, and that's the reason we need to go. We'll find out. We'll do a little story on it. We'll bring it back here on the Mountain Morning Show, and we'll give some folks some more information. I've got an interesting story that I'll be presenting of a burial of one of the graveyards that got kind of bulldozed over and a structure built on it. But I'll get into that. We'll say that we don't want to give away all of our surprises. We'll wait. And these stories are really going to be interesting. Some of them funny. Some of them may be heartbreaking. And some of them just good old solid mountain information that you ain't going to get nowhere else probably except here on Mountain Monday Morning Show, or Mountain Morning Show. I did it again. Mountain Morning Show. Mm-hmm. Yeah, don't get all excited out there, Josh. I'm learning. I'm getting it right. He's going to rib me about it. Change is not easy for me anymore. So on a brand new morning here, this is the second one, but I'll get it right. I'm on Mountain Morning Show on Mountain Fun Life channel. Now we got it right that time. So looks to me like we've done gone and run out of time. So I suppose right now we want to thank the folks for joining us. Be sure and tell your friends to keep tuning in. We have some very exciting things that are going to be going on here. So I'm your host, Robert Ownby, along with Mountain Man. Say bye, Mountain Man.
Bye, Mountain Man.